Hey, I want to primary said, let's go to the know. Filing a complaint with the district court. We did everything correctly. We followed all rules. We got all our paperwork in on time. And basically, we feel like that we just was, not taken serious and we wasn't treated correct. We wasn't treated equal as others. They didn't fully look at the allegations. They let fraud continuously just be used and not say anything about it. Everything that the fraud is supposed to be voided, and honestly, I don't think that happened. I don't think.
Well, the first time I heard that Jay-Z probably was my father when I was 8 years old, and my mom, we was actually sitting in the house on a regular day, listening to music. My mom came up to me like, "Hey, Rob, I got something to tell you. That's your dad." I'm like, I was shocked. Like, Mom, what are you talking about? I'm young. Like, it's nothing your parents would just make up like that. You don't just say this type of person is your father, Jay-Z.
So y'all Jay-Z's alleged son Ramir Cedar W just jumped into the chaos, and he is exposing Jay-Z for grooming his mom. We all know how Ramir has been trying and failing for years to get Jay-Z to take a DNA test to confirm whether or not he is Ram's father. Right, well, at first, we thought that Jay-Z was just trying to protect his billion-dollar fortune in case Ramir was out for money, but Ramir had another story to tell. According to him, GC allegedly spent years grooming his mom since she was a young teenager before eventually getting her pregnant. When she was only 16, Ram has spent years gathering evidence and receipts, and it looks like he has finally had enough and is ready to spill the tea to bury Jay-Z big time. Y'all, looks like Ramir is out here for revenge. And it looks like he's about to take Jay's out. But before all that, let's break it down. But if you've been following Ram's case, then you probably know how heartbreaking the situation is, because his mom passed away and his alleged father has refused for more than 10 years to acknowledge him. But for anybody who hasn't been following the drama, here's the rundown. So back in the 1990s, Ramir claimed that Jay-Z had a brief fling with his mom, Wanda, and although they reportedly used protection, it failed, which led to Wanda becoming pregnant with Ramir. However, since this all went down in a pre-social media era where not everybody even had a mobile phone, they were still bumping beepers. If that, well, they lost touch and couldn't communicate, so by the time W did give birth, her boyfriend at the time ended up being the one who signed the birth certificate instead of Jay-Z. An insider explained why the boyfriend signed the birth certificate even though he knew he wasn't the father, saying, her on and off boyfriend at the time, Robert, knew the baby wasn't his but put his name on the birth certificate. While Wanda was unconscious recovering from the birth initially, he felt sorry for Wanda, but later he used it so he could collect extra food stamps and benefits. Both were minors at the time, so he shouldn't have signed anything. Or Ramir spilled some additional tea, sharing that when he was just 8 years old, his mom Wanda casually mentioned that Jay-Z's was actually his real dad. Now from that moment on, Wanda became determined to get in touch with Jay-Z and see if he would take responsibility for Rear. She didn't just sit around hoping. One tried everything she could to get a hold of Jay-Z. She contacted lawyers, sent messages through mutual acquaintances, and even tried reaching him through social media and interviews. Unfortunately, despite her best efforts, every attempt seemed to hit a wall. Lawyers, public, and even close friends seemed to be blocking her at every turn. But Wanda wasn't one to give up easily. She had too much at stake, so she took matters into her own hands and decided to go the legal route, filing a court case to establish whether Jay-Z was indeed Ramir's biological father. But unfortunately, things did not go as planned. The judge threw the case out, citing lack of jurisdiction as the reason. It was a frustrating setback, but Wanda didn't back down. She kept fighting, relentlessly refusing to give up the search. For years, it was clear that she wasn't going to let this go, no matter how many obstacles stood in her way. Well, sadly, Wanda passed away shortly after all this drama came to light, but before she died, she signed a sworn affidavit confirming that Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z's, was indeed Ramir's biological father. Now at this point, one would think that Jay-Z would be forced to at least acknowledge the situation and take a DNA test to clear the air, right? I mean, he didn't even have to go into the lab or spend hours trying to get tested. But with new procedures, all it would have taken was a simple mouth swab in all of 5 seconds, so it's not like he couldn't have made the time to do so. It was very clear that he was deliberately trying all he could to avoid taking the test, and it kind of makes us wonder if he knows something we don't, like the fact that Ramir is actually his son. He and his elite team of lawyers kept dodging the process for years, and they managed to drag it out. Frustrating with the lack of progress, Ramir, with the help of his guardian Lily Coyd, decided to take matters into their own hands, handle it the legal way, even though they knew that they were going up against Jay-Z and his high-powered lawyers. They filed a civil lawsuit back in December 2014, seeking to get Jay-Z to agree to a DNA test. At this point, the drama had been dragging on for 4 years, and Jay-Z still maintained that he was not the father, but for some reason he kept dodging a DNA test. It's baffling, like why wouldn't he just take the test and settle it once and for all if he's not the father? But no, the lawsuit has now stretched on for about 10 years or 14 years, if you include Wanda's initial lawsuit. And here's the kicker: even after all those years, Jay-Z is still refusing to take the test, which just screams suspicious as F. It's as if he's hiding something, and everyone's left wondering why he wouldn't just clear the air once and for all. Well, Ramir was understandably heard about the situation, and he agreed to do a sit-down interview with The Sun online where he denied allegations that he was after Jay-Z's money, saying, "I don't want money or anything like that for Jay-Z. I just want him to finally tell the truth to the world. He's supposed to be a positive role model for our community. He stands there screaming Black Lives Matter. Well, tell the truth and take responsibility. And if you say I'm not your son and nothing ever happened with my mom, then just take the test. If you are telling the truth, then why is your first answer whenever you're asked to take a paternity test no?" Well, ours guardian Lily has also shared some details that really put the whole situation into perspective. Apparently, Jay-Z had gotten Wanda pregnant when she was just 16 and he was 22. The math on that age gap makes you stop and think. That's definitely a jaw-dropping revelation, and it adds another layer of complexity to this already messy story. I mean, can you even imagine a teenage girl and a grown man and a pregnancy? It's no wonder that things got so out of hand from the very beginning. It's not just about the drama of the paternity test anymore, it's about the circumstances of their relationship from the jump. The fact that Jay-Z still refuses to take a DNA test only deepens the and leaves everyone wondering what he's hiding after all this time. You think Jay-Z would want to clear up the confusion and move on, but it feels like he's just adding more layers of complexity. It seems there's more to the situation than just a paternity test. Perhaps it's about protecting an image or concealing something he doesn't want the public to know. And with the detail that Wanda was just 16 when all this began, it's hard not to question if the math adds up in a way that's more than just a little concerning. But that's not all, because according to reports, not only did Jay-Z allegedly get Wanda pregnant, but he also allegedly had started dating her way before then. Allegedly, the relationship might have started when she was just 133, and he was in his 20s. Seriously, though, what is it that Jay-Z in getting involved with women who are younger than he is? Because this is not the first time that he's been linked to young women. I mean, he allegedly got involved with Foxy Brown when she was 15, and he was in his 20s. He also allegedly got involved with Aaliyah when she was a teenager, and the same thing happened with him and Beyonce allegedly. And that's just the ones we know about. Well, Lily said Wanda was only 16 when she allegedly met Sean, but she may have told him she was older. She felt pregnant, but had no idea how to contact him. Lily pointed out that Wanda had actually told Jay-Z she was 18 at the time, so he was unaware of her true age. Even though it technically wasn't his fault, it could still have a negative light casted on him. Fans have had their suspicions over the years, given his history of being linked to young women who weren't illegally of age. Again, just look at Beyonce, Foxy Brown. It seemed like he had quite the track record of going after younger women before they were legally old enough. But if it ever came out that he got Wanda pregnant when she was just 16, it would have caused a huge scandal. Lily believes that the age factor is a major reason why Jay-Z hasn't been more forthcoming about acknowledging Rear. When Lulu and Ramir first reached out to Jay-Z's lawyers to settle things quietly, they seemed surprisingly eager to get everything private and wrap it up behind the scenes. They even proposed signing Rear to Jay-Z's label, thinking it might be a way to smooth things over. But Lily wasn't interested in taking that route. She felt it was better to distance herself from any association that could potentially make things 10 times worse. She wasn't just going to compromise her role as a guardian for a quick deal. Lily was adamant that the truth had to come out no matter what it took. The situation is more than just about settling paternity. It's about standing up for what's right and not letting anyone brush it under the rug. Jay believes that acknowledging the age gap And the circumstances would deal a major blow to GT's public image, something he clearly wants to avoid at all cost. It almost seems like he's more worried about protecting his reputation and actually doing the right thing, which only raises more questions about his true intentions for Lily. This issue goes beyond a legal settlement. It's about demanding transparency and accountability, even if it means enduring more scrutiny and backlash. She's not willing to be swayed or manipulated into a quick fix. She wants the whole truth and nothing but the truth to come out, a matter of the consequences, she said. I got a call from his in-house lawyer and they were very helpful, and we thought we would resolve this privately. They even talked about Ram's music talent and whether it was a good time to put him on his record label, but he had to finish high school. So I said no. Suddenly different lawyers got involved and their attitude completely changed. I think they realized there was more at stake for Shan, given that Wanda was allegedly underage. Now at that point things started going downhill for Ramir, and he placed the blame squarely on Jay-Z and Beyonce. Ramir Liley claimed that Jay's lawyers were playing dirty. They suspected that Jay-Z's legal team had bribed R's lawyers to sabotage the case. It seemed like a desperate attempt to bury the truth and protect the Cage reputation at any cost. This kind of tactic only fed Ramirez's frustration and solidified his beef that Jay-Z was more interested in maintaining a flawless public image than addressing the situation honestly. Well, Lily backed up these claims, pointing out that the pressure from Jay-Z's side to keep everything under wraps was relentless. It was almost as if they were more focused on discrediting Rear than finding a fair resolution. And this maneuver only made things more complicated and left Rear feeling like he had no hope of things working out good for him. The measures that Jay-Z's lawyer allegedly took to keep things quiet seemed dubious and only intensified the sense of wrongdoing that Rear and his supporters experienced. It's evident that this isn't merely about a paternity test. This is about the lengths some people will go in order to maintain their image, even if it means compromising the truth. And according to reports, Lily launched a legal battle against their own lawyers, accusing them of colluding with the rapper legal team to help them get out of taking the test. She claimed that they secretly colluded with the lawyers of Jay-Z, causing procedure problems that caused the case to be thrown out of Philadelphia courts.
It's crazy. It really is crazy. Judges, lawyers, this fraud, collusion. Who knows what it's for? Money or friendships or whatever they got going on. But I can honestly say that we should never go on the court feeling like we're already the victim. We did nothing wrong.
But despite the long-standing track record of Jay-Z and Beyonce, it was entirely surprising that they'd resort to such measures. It felt like a move straight out of the playbook. But here's a twist: Ramir is tough as nails, and none of it fazed him. Even with all the dirty tactics from Jay-Z's lawyers, Ramir remained irresolute. He decided to take a stand and file a motion with the Supreme Court demanding the release of years where the documents dating back to 2012. He kept arguing that keeping these records under lock and key was an injustice. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court shot down his motion too, citing a lack of jurisdiction to reopen matters in the appeals court or unsealed records in the trial court. Undeterred, the premier pressed on and filed another motion with the appellant division. But that was also denied, and it's no surprise that Ramir is feeling frustrated, because who wouldn't? He's been at this fight for more than 15 years. And it's like he hasn't moved a single step forward. Every step he takes seems to lead him to another dead end, and it feels like the system is intentionally keeping him at bay. All he's asking for is a fair chance to present his case. But it's as if every door is being slammed in his face. It's a real test of strength, and you can't help cheer him on despite all these obstacles. But I mean, can't you just admire his determination? He refuses to give up. It makes you think that he really believes in this, even in the face of all these legal hurdles and the alleged dubious maneuvers from Jay-Z's team. Rear continues to what he believes is right. This isn't just about paternity test for him. He's demanding clarity and accountability from the Carters, no matter how long it takes. And most people just would have called it quits at the first time of trouble. But Ramirez's bravery is inspiring.
I'm not pointing no fingers. I'm just asking everybody, all the judges, or anybody who's working on the case, to do what's right and do their job the correct way, even if you overlook something or didn't see something. Everybody makes mistakes, as I said before, but it's time to actually do your job and look at everything and get it correct. You we cannot use fraud to continue anything in this world. You can't use fraud to help you get forward in life. And try to continue on your wrong.
But on the opposite end, many people have rushed to defend the Carters, suggesting they didn't fully grasp the situation because their lawyers and publicists were handling everything. But let's be real a second for a millisecond. Beyond saying Jay-Z we very much in the loop, they even threw some not-so-subtle shade at Rear, and their song Heard About Us, it's almost like they're acknowledging the issue without taking direct responsibility. Instead of addressing it head-on, they chose to bury it under a bill of indifference and tossing a little passive-aggressive comment through their lyrics. The idea that they can hide behind ignorance doesn't really stand up here, especially when they have an entire team managing their every move. By referencing the situation indirectly in a song, they make it clear that they're not as uninvolved as they want to pretend to be. Beyonce and Jay-Z know exactly what was going on, but instead of facing it, they chose to downplay it and move on, all while throwing their music in as a shield to keep up appearances without actually dealing with the matter ahead on. They accused Ramir of chasing clout in her song Hard About Us, and said Beyonce and Jay-Z may have cruelly mocked Rear in their music. They also claim that they've been receiving a number of threats from Beyonce, which pushed them to do a sit-down interview with his crone to share their side of the story just in case something happens to them. But y'all, here's a completely different version. It looks like there's more at play here because according to Lillian Rear, Beyonce wasn't just trying to protect the inheritance, she might also be trying to shield her husband's reputation. The last thing that Jay-Z and Beyonce need is for the public to find out that he has not only dated a much younger girl when he was in his 20s, but also got her pregnant and then abandoned both her and her son. Now things are starting to make sense. And it seems like Ramir is going to use this angle to push for a DNA test. And it looks like Jay-Z could be in even more trouble soon. Y'all, this is shaping up to be quite the tangled mess. How you're feeling about all this drama, and check out this next video. And thanks for watching Celebrity Spill, guys.